Welcome to the Consistency Club, a monthly podcast dedicated to marketing your photography business from the creators of This Can't Be That Hard. Each month on the 15th, you'll hear an in-depth discussion about a marketing strategy that's working well in the industry right now. Looking for even more support? When you become a member of the Consistency Club, you'll unlock access to the extended version of each month's podcast, along with monthly email and social media templates and bonus access to that month's secret strategy. Sign up at go.thiscan'tbethathard.com/club to get started. Hi, Dana.
Annalie, how are you?
I am okay.
I feel like everybody is like same as soon as you said that.
Yeah, no, I am good overall, but I'm having big feels about this new chapter of life with me, with the mom of a college student.
I know. That is so crazy. And I feel like this is just like a time of year of transitions. Like kids are going back to school.
Right.
Like busy season is upon us. And it's like, here we go. Summer's over. Holy cow. Well, not here in Phoenix. Summer will continue on for like, I don't know, conservatively 6 more months.
Until next summer starts, right around then.
I'm over it.
Oh, gosh. Well, anyway, but I am certainly, as I always am this time of year, excited about the busy season that's getting ready to get underway and sort of all of the promise that holds, running sales and print sales, and everybody just gets really excited about photos in the fall in North Carolina. And so, it's always a little like injection of energy and excitement in my own business. Yeah.
And I feel like we feel that was like over here on the This Can't Be That Hard side. Like we feel everybody's businesses getting like influxed with energy. It's just like, it's fun. It's a fun time.
It is a fun time. So, of course, when it comes to marketing, we've got basically 2 main messages for you. Number 1 is don't slack. Like, even if your books are super full and you're just like, I don't need to market right now. We all know that marketing has to be like, you got to continue to pay the piper, because basically you're not marketing necessarily for a month from now. You're marketing for 3 months from now, 6 months from now, all of that sort of thing. So keep up with it. We here in the Consistency Club are here with the sole purpose of supporting you in that process and giving you material that you can like take and tweak just a little bit and then just get it out the door. But then the other piece that we're all focused on right now is like filling up our books in the immediate future. If you happen not to be completely booked at this point, it's like now is the time, right? We need people on the calendar. And the big question is, how are we going to get them to pull the trigger? How are we going to get them to take that action?
Yep, absolutely. And I just was going to like double down on what you said and say, if you're one of those people who is like, I'm actually overbooked for this fall, like, first of all, awesome. Second of all, I would really encourage you to go listen to episode 226 of the This Can't Be That Hard podcast, where one of Anamie's students shares like an amazing strategy for if you're in that exact situation. So if that is you, I want you to listen to that podcast episode, because it's still important to do your marketing. And if you are, one of the people who's like, okay, let's go, like I'm ready to grow my business this season, like you're in the right place, because we are here to help you do that in this very moment. So I'm excited for this month's topic. I think it is something that gets talked about like lightly often. Mm-hmm. And so I think kind of like really driving down on like what is, so we're talking about your unique value proposition. Like, what is it about you that is different than everyone else out there, specifically other photographers out there, right? And why should somebody hire you over other people? And what we're not really talking about is like, well, my photos are better. Like that, of course, that is part of it. You're like, your work might appeal to somebody else's, but it's really, as we've talked about so many times in marketing, it is really about making a connection with people. And so like, what is your special sauce? What is your magic that people are really attracted to that is going to make them say, yep, this is the person for me. This is the photographer for me.
So let's talk about brands outside of photography and some of the things that come to mind as like brands that have a really solid, unique value proposition. So as you were saying that, the first one that came to mind, and of course, like we all shop at the places that we shop, and we sort of know those things. But I often buy clothes from a brand called Marine Layer, and their whole thing is that all of their clothes are really soft. And that doesn't that's actually not, I like the fact that they also have a lot of very colorful stuff, and like it's well made and it's cute, but they do really focus on that in their marketing and in just like, I guess, the way that they source their stuff. And they're always like, come in and touch and feel everything. And so like, that's an interesting, unique value proposition for a clothing brand.
Yeah, I love that. Oh man, I'm trying to think of a brand that I shop a lot that isn't like clothing. I don't know. Honestly, the first thing that came to mind, this is so silly, but the first thing that came to mind for me was like Target. And I think like why, for me, Target over Walmart over like, what are some of the others? So it's like, what is it about Target that makes me, and for me, it's like, I think Target is like, both were like no fuss, but we're also like a little bit cool, which is sort of how I see myself. I'm like, I'm no fuss and I'm a little bit cool. Like, I'm not super cool, but I'm like a little bit cool.
Well, okay. And I have to pause and say that it was very interesting to me. I've been to Australia a handful of times, and I have been schooled by my Australian friends that, so for them, Kmart is Target. Like they have Kmart there, and it has the reputation that Target here has, and vice versa. They have Target there, but it's like they're one that's like not nice and always a mess and whatever.
That is blowing my mind.
Isn't that so crazy? So, hey, Aussie friends, substitute Kmart for Target. Little cultural lesson on the side here. So, yeah, no, exactly. Target definitely has like, well, because even the various Target brands really have like a specific aesthetic, and the stores are nicely lit. Yeah. Whereas if you go into a Walmart, like you feel like you are under the like legit overhead lights that are not flattering.
Yes.
Everything's a little blue gray in there. Yeah. So even the temperature of the light bulbs can, especially for those of us who are sensitive to these things, hello photographers, that is definitely a unique value proposition. Different brands lean on this more heavily for sure. And some, it's like quality might be the unique value proposition. Mm-hmm. But any one of these things, it's not like, especially in any sort of field where there's a bunch of contenders, like the clothing industry, there's a million clothing brands out there. So, even though soft is kind of an unusual one, I'm sure that Marine Layer is not alone in that being the thing that they're purporting. Quality or like fashionability, even though you're calling it your unique value proposition, if we're to use the true definition of the word unique, they're not unique, right? So they have to take it a step further.
And I think that's also such a good analogy, because it's important to remember how many clothing brands are there out there, like a gajillion. And so if you're in that mind space where you're like, oh, there's so many photographers, I'm getting like lost in the sea, just remember that like there are a lot of people out there too who are looking for photographers, just like there is what is it? A lid for every pot. Like every clothing, brand appeals to like a slightly different person. Like, of course there's a little bit of overlap, but like your people are out there, and the more specific you can get about, like what you are and what you are not, is when those people will like really be like, oh, that's my person. Like they just like feel very attracted to you.
I have a very strongly held belief based on my own experience running a photography business that most of the time our clients come to us with this, like, I don't really know what I want. And when I say come to us, I mean, even before they're coming to us, like they're scrolling around on Instagram or whatever, photography becomes something that they're kind of thinking about for whatever reason. Their friend had photos made. So they're semi on the market, and then they find all these photographers, and then they see some stuff that they're like, I like that, I like this. But most of them don't have language to put to why they like it. And so when we are able to give them specific language, I think it helps them be like, oh yes, she knows exactly what I'm thinking. And you don't have to be the only one out there saying those words. You just have to be the first one that person finds. And that if you are saying the thing that kind of puts words to what they're feeling, that's instantly going to make them feel like you get them. And that's really the key to attracting a like-minded client, a bluebird client.
Yeah, as you were saying that, I was sort of like thinking about what we were talking about earlier before we started recording, which is like, okay, so somebody's like, I need a photographer. And it's like, the world is your oyster, right? So like the first thing you're going to do probably is narrow it down by like the area that you live in, right? Mm-hmm. Or the type of photography you're looking for, family photography, newborn, engagement, whatever. And then from there, again, it's like, I remember before I was even so well versed in the photography world, I was just like, oh, I like this type of photo, but not this type of photo. But I didn't have the words to say why until someone said, oh, you like documentary style photography. And I was like, yeah, exactly. I like documentary style photography. And it made me feel like, yes, they get me. Right. And so then further, then I'm looking like, it's like niching down. Now I'm looking into those people. And it's like the more that I was able to connect with someone and they were like, yeah, I hear what you're saying. You like this. Or I was like, I don't want this to be high maintenance. And they were like, yeah, I'm easy. Right. So like, it kind of starts really big and then starts to like sort of narrow down. And I think that's how you sort of figure out, like in the giant Venn diagram of people over photographers, like where is your overlap with those people?
Right. First of all, this person needs to be somewhere where they are in a place where they can serve me. So we live somewhat near each other. Second, I have a newborn. That's a pet photographer. I may need to look for a different one, right? So whatever the niche is. So you've got location, you've got niche. And then this exercise that I wanted to kind of bring as the crux of what we're talking about here today is, this is a busy time of year. I don't want to make this like, I want you to sit down and do a huge unique value proposition project that's going to take you a bunch of hours and you're going to need to like journal and do all this stuff. Like, ain't nobody got time for that right now. So what I would recommend that you do is just sit for a moment and say, if I had to pick, what are some of the games? I know there are several games where you can only say one word and you're trying to get somebody else to say a word.
There's a game called Code Names.
That's the one. Anyway, and so I'm going to sit here and say, if I had one word to describe the experience of working with me, and you could do to describe your photographs, but I actually think that like a picture's worth 1,000 words. Let your photos speak for themselves. Talk about or think of the one word that you would use to describe the experience of working with you. And it shouldn't take you that long. Like you should be able to be like, this is the one word if I had to say one word. So, okay, I know you're not a photographer, but if you were to pick one word for working with you as a marketing director.
Yeah. I think I would say fun.
I would say fun for you too. And I think that's, but there's so much, it's such a short word. It's a 3-letter word, but it encompasses so much. And if that's the number one that you are coming to the table with, it says a lot about what it is that you value and like how the experience of working with you and what that's going to be like.
Yep.
For me, for my photography business, like no brainer. And I have, spent some time thinking about this many times over the years, and it wasn't always this way, but the thing that has sort of landed and stuck and felt the truest to who I am and to what my brand represents and all this other stuff is the word easy. My photography clients, and it's funny because of course, once upon a time I was doing all this like very labor intensive in-person sales and I had a big, large format printer and I was making fine art prints and it was all very tedious. It was not easy. And when I sort of flip-flopped and was like, never mind, the true Anami, what I want is I want to make beautiful photos, something that's accessible for people who are not unlike me, busy working parents. And, like I want them to have this amazing experience. But I want at the end of the day for both of the parents to flop onto the couch at the end and be like, oh my gosh, that was so much easier than I was afraid it was going to be.
Yep.
And so everything in my business is built around that, right? It's like you can book everything online. You're managing your photos thanks to the simple sales system in this very like you get to dictate the timing and the process and all this other stuff. It's just easy. And I think in person, I'm an easy person to work with. Like I make the session experience pretty easy for people, or at least that's what they tell me.
Absolutely. And so I would actually even like drill down one more layer on that to say like, okay, so we are in where are you? Durham?
Yeah, Chapel Hill. It's the triangle. So there's a bunch of towns that I could claim, but Chapel Hill.
So, we're in the triangle of North Carolina. We are looking for a family photographer that is easy. Mm-hmm. I would say there's probably a handful of those, right, that market themselves that way. So then what am I, again, putting like aesthetically, like that sort of to the side, although I think that does play into it, like how you edit or how, that kind of stuff. But like assuming that they're within the aesthetic, now what is it that's going to make them choose you, Anami, over another photographer that also is like, it's really easy to work with me? Mm-hmm. What do you think it is?
Well, I think that in a situation where we're talking about like a single person owned business, mm-hmm. I think who we are ends up being sort of is that what you were going to say?
Totally. Like, I think so often, especially in marketing, I hear people like, I don't want to share about myself. It feels weird. Right. But that is so important. Like, again, to flip it around and to go back to the example of me, it's like, again, assuming everything is the same, that somebody else has marketing experience and all the same experience that I have and that they are also fun. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like, but what is the Dana special sauce that like, I think if, my special sauce now, I think it's hard to drill down on like exactly what that is, but what is it about you? And, for me, I've heard this enough times where I'm like, I have a lot of energy. I'm like mm-hmm. very bubbly. I'm very like outgoing. And for some people that is amazing. And for some mm-hmm. people that is really overwhelming.
Right. So kryptonite. Like totally. Nope, I don't want that. Yeah.
And that's nothing bad. It's just, these are my people and these are not my people. So mm-hmm. I think to take the idea of a unique value proposition and take it even one layer further than I think it normally gets taken, which is like, what is the one word? And then on top of that, what is it about you that you can sort of like continue to highlight that people are going to really feel magnetized towards? Because we really do feel like we want to find other people that are like us. That is like mm-hmm. in our human nature. We like gravitate towards people that make us, that, we feel like we have something in common with, right?
Mm-hmm. I will say that one thing that I feel like, thankfully, I don't think that this is all that prevalent anymore, but for a while it was like every single bio that I went to on every single website talked about like your favorite beverage, there was like this list of things that everybody talked about. And in some instances that works and it works well and it comes across as funny and whatever. But because that became this, like everybody's doing it, mm-hmm. when everyone is doing something, it becomes a net zero. Like it makes no impact one way or the other. And so I really do feel like you have to think about the things about yourself that maybe you're slightly less like, is everybody going to like this? Yeah. Everybody can be like, oh, you like Diet Coke. Okay, well, I guess that's fine, even if I don't like Diet Coke. But if you're willing to go out there and be like, I am a huge fishing nerd. I'm going to bring this up because you just did a whole bunch of like stories when you were in Alaska about how you've become a fisherwoman. That's not a wildly popular thing. So you're not necessarily going to connect with a bunch of people who are like, me too. But there's a large segment of the population who's going to have some sort of like quirky habit or quirky hobby. And they're going to connect with you on the fact that you're willing to kind of put that out there.
Totally.
So I do think that,
I was just going to say, like, to that point, the number of people that were either like, I love fishing or, oh, I went to Alaska, like just, out of nowhere. And again, it's just like keeping in touch with people. But it's like when you share those parts of your life that are not related to your photography business, it's like that is when people are like able to connect with you on a person to person level. And it just makes them feel like, oh, look, we have these things in common. And as silly as it is, it just makes us more comfortable with people and more likely to hire those people.
So my friend Sabrina Gebhardt, who has been on the podcast, and she's also an educator in the photography space. She did a series on Instagram recently.
I saw this too.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. She was like, of course you need to share about yourself on social. You would never go to a cocktail party and say, hi, here are my prices. And it's totally true. It's like you just have to sort of have that banter. And even when it's one-sided, in the case of social media, like it's an important piece of the puzzle. And then, of course, I'm always like, and then you get on the phone and you have the actual banter and a little bit of an appetizer before you jump right into the main course.
Of course, because it gives them something to talk to you about. Like if if you're like fostering kittens and they're a cat person, they're going to be like, oh, I saw those cats you were fostering. That's so nice. It gives you something to talk about before you're like, so anyway, let's talk about my prices.
Right, exactly. So good. Okay, so we're going to, in a moment, flip over and start going through this month's templates. We've got email templates and social media templates for all of our club members.
Yep.
If you are not part of the club, you should totally join the club. It's go.thiscan'tbethathard.com/club to sign up. This is the best $24 a month that you can spend on marketing your business. But before we do that, I just want to recap. If you are not joining the club and you just want to take this lesson into your own marketing strategy for this month, I want you to think about the fact that everybody out there, every photographer out there is like, hey, hire me. I'm running mini sessions. Hey, hire me. I only have 8 spots left. And you can use any amount of like a fun offer, urgency, whatever marketing strategy you're using this month. I want you to take a moment to try, instead of convincing everyone out there that they want photos, I want you to talk to people like, of course you want photos. Here's why you want to book with me. Here's why I'm the right photographer. And I want you to lean into this unique value proposition idea in order to do that. So think geography, niche, whatever your one word is, and then
like fun, easy, efficient, adventurous, like stuff like that. And then who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
A nice sprinkle of those things is going to take you a long way to getting somebody to take action.
And I would even suggest write those like forward. So like, I mean, I hope you know where you live and what your niche is. So maybe you don't need to write those 2 down. But like write these other 2 words down and like maybe put them on a sticky on your computer so that as you're writing your social media posts, as you're writing your email templates, just start incorporating those words in. Easy, fun, adventure, like, full of life, full of energy, like whatever your things are, put those in over and over again. And that is not only going to help you get really clear about who you are, and then you can also look for synonyms of that word. And like, this is a great place to use AI.
Tell stories about how, this adventure-filled session or this super easy, seamless situation. Yeah.
Yep. All of the above. And so, just putting those in over and over again is not only going to help you get super clear about your unique value proposition, but it's also going to help the bots of the world bring the right people to you. That's literally SEO right there on your social media, on your emails. It's like bringing the right people into you, right?
Love it. So good. All right, let's dive into our templates.
All right, let's do it.
That's it for this month's marketing lesson, but there's more waiting when you become a member. Visit go.thiscan'tbethathard.com/club to join the Consistency Club and get instant access to the rest of this episode, your Mad Lib style email and social media templates, our library of bonus trainings, and this month's secret strategy. Again, that's go.thiscan'tbethathard.com/club. We can't wait to have you.